Have you ever felt neglected, undervalued, or taken for granted? You give, wait, and hope, only to learn that certain individuals will never recognize your worth, no matter how much you do for them. But here is the reality. Your worth is not defined by their acknowledgement. What if, rather than seeking approval, you could walk away with peaceful confidence? What if, instead of striving to show your value, you just lived it? The instant you stop seeking approval, you recover your power. Because a guy who understands his own worth does not need to convince anybody else. This video isn't about fast fixes or ineffective inspiration. It's about making a fundamental adjustment in how you perceive yourself and how you allow others to treat you. By the end, you'll realize why people who beg for respect don't get it. It is granted to those who demand it via their actions. You'll learn how to set boundaries like a leader, avoid draining situations, and focus on your own viewpoint, which is the only one that actually matters. Seneca once stated that a jewel cannot be polished without friction, nor a man refined without trials. The way others treat you is a test. Will you let it define you, or will you overcome it? If you're ready to quit pursuing and start leading, stick with me until the finish. Leave a comment below. I prioritize self-respect over acceptance. Everything changes today. 1. Don't pursue validation. The simplest way to lose respect from others and yourself is to seek approval. When you seek acceptance, you give up your authority. You let others decide how valuable you are. And a guy who does not recognize his worth will never be respected. Since you were a youngster, society has taught you to seek acceptance. Be a nice boy. Make everyone happy. Avoid confrontation. You've been led to believe that obtaining validation is the key to success. But here is the reality. It is a trap. A rigged game in which the more you chase, the less you receive. Imagine this. You're in a relationship, and your spouse starts withdrawing. She's less loving, slower to respond, and constantly too preoccupied. So what do most males do? They get into a panic. They text more, phone more, and work harder to resolve issues. So what happens? She draws back even farther, because nothing destroys attractiveness faster than desperation. But it's not just about relationships. It applies to everything: friendship, job, and family. The more you seek validation, the less you will obtain. People appreciate strength over neediness. So, how can you break free? Flip the script. Stop worrying about whether people approve of you and instead ask yourself, do I respect the way I live? Are my behaviors consistent with my values? If not, make a modification. Not for them, for yourself. Here's the brutal reality. You will not be valued by everyone, regardless of what you do. And that's okay. Your goal is to not be loved. Your objective is to be the best version of yourself, no matter who is watching. The instant you stop chasing, you begin attracting. And when you attract from strength rather than neediness, everything changes. 2. Recognize warning indicators. Awareness is the first step towards recovering your power. You can't alter what you refuse to admit. However, most men disregard the indicators that someone has stopped appreciating them. Why? Because the truth is difficult. Pretending everything is okay is simpler than admitting you're being taken for granted. But the indications are constantly present. Sometimes they are subtle, a shift in tone, a lack of excitement, an increasing distance. They can also be rather obvious. Plans were canceled, ignored messages, outright disregard. Regardless, the message is obvious. Your presence is no longer valuable. The only question is, will you listen? Think about it. Are you always the one who initiates conversations, making plans, compromising? And what do you get in return? Excuses, apathy, or silence? People appreciate only what they can earn. If you do all of the labor, you are teaching children that they do not need to. You educate children that your time, energy, and attention are not worth much, and inexpensive items are readily discarded. Recognizing the signals does not imply blaming others. It is about taking responsibility. Ask yourself whether you tolerate rudeness. Are you offering too much? Do you ignore red signals out of fear of confrontation? If this is the case, now is the moment to wake up. Imagine this. Your spouse cancels their plans at the last minute. The first time, you let it slip. The second time, create excuses for them. By the third time, animosity sets in. But you still say nothing. Why? You don't want to upset the boat. But here is the reality. Staying silent teaches children that your time is expendable. Recognizing the warning signals is more than just witnessing the problem. It's about determining how you're going to respond. Will you continue to tolerate less than you deserve? Will you raise your standards? The option is yours. 3. The power of taking a step back. Here's where everything changes. When someone no longer values you, the best strategy is not to pursue, fight, or plead. Take a step back. Allow them to sense your absence. Why is this so powerful? Because it changes the dynamics. When you stop feeding their ego, establishing your value, and being continuously available, they notice. People take things for granted, believing they will always be there. However, taking a step back breaks the illusion. Imagine this. You are always the first to text, always the planner, constantly bending over backwards to satisfy them. They eventually cease appreciating it. Your presence becomes predictable. Predictable events are simple to overlook. Imagine an alternative circumstance. First, you must quit texting. You stop calling. You cease initiating. They suddenly sense the vacuum. They start to worry why they haven't heard from him. Is there something I did wrong? That is the power of absence. It compels them to face what life is like without you. But here's the key. Stepping back is not about playing games. It's not about fooling them into missing you. It is about regaining your energy. It means stating, I will no longer invest in someone who does not value me. I'll invest in myself. When you devote your time, effort, and concentration to your own development, you grow stronger, more confident, and more grounded. You don't need their approval since you've created your own. That's when the dynamics change. That's when people start to realize what they've lost. But here comes the actual twist. By the time they return, you may no longer desire them. Because when you actually invest in yourself, you discover that your value was never dependent on them in the first place. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't respond. Take a step back. Draw a deep breath. Concentrate on yourself. And see what happens. Not only will people notice your absence, but you will also reclaim your own authority. 4. Invest in yourself. When was the last time you really put yourself first? And no, I don't mean dozing out in front of the TV or browsing your phone. I mean genuine, purposeful self-investment. The sort that changes you from the inside out. The type that helps you feel stronger, smarter, and more in charge of your life every morning. Because this is the truth. The world does not reward mediocrity. People do not appreciate men who disregard themselves. Investing in oneself is not selfish. It's about survival. If you don't grow, you'll die. However, most males get it backwards. They focus all of their efforts on others, chasing relationships. They are sacrificing their time for those who do not respect them. They are putting their goals on wait in order to make someone else happy. Then they wonder why they feel exhausted, stagnant, and unfulfilled. Here's the shift. When you invest in yourself, you are sending a strong statement to both the world and yourself. You proclaim that you are important, that your objectives, time, and potential are worth the effort. When you believe something, others begin to believe it as well. Consider what the ideal version of yourself might look like. Not the guy you are now, but the man you could become if you quit making excuses. Perhaps he is stronger, more disciplined, and financially secure. Perhaps he travels with purpose, unaffected by the judgments of others. Now ask yourself, what is preventing you from being that man? 9 times out of 10, the answer is you. Not your partner, not your boss, not in your history. It's you. And that's excellent because it indicates you have the ability to alter things. Imagine this. Instead of running after someone who does not appreciate you, you focus your efforts on improving yourself, going to the gym, learning a new skill, and starting a company. Instead of waiting for affirmation, you validate yourself by creating and achieving your goals. Instead of caring about what others think, you work on being the type of man you admire. Here's the finest part. When you invest in yourself, everything changes. People start to perceive you differently. Confidence, discipline, and purpose are magnetic. Respect is not given, it is earned. And when you stop pursuing approval and start constructing yourself, you no longer need someone to validate you because you've already done it for yourself. Beginning today, commit to one act of self-investment. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's going to the gym for 30 minutes, reading a book instead of watching TV, making a plan, and taking the first step. Whatever it is, do it for yourself because the best version of yourself is waiting. Now it's time to meet him. 5. Set limits as a leader. Let us discuss about limits. Most guys avoid the concept because they've been taught that creating limits makes them difficult, greedy, or unpleasant. But here is the reality. Boundaries are not obstacles that keep people out. They serve as guardrails to protect what is most important, your time, energy, and peace of mind. And if you don't establish them, you're encouraging others to step all over you. Consider how many times you've said yes when you meant no. How many times have you endured rudeness only to avoid conflict? How many times have you been silent about something that disturbed you in order to maintain the peace? Every time you do this, you are sending a message. My sentiments don't matter. My time does not matter. My standards do not matter. And guess what? They believe you. This is the brutal reality. Nobody else will establish boundaries for you if you don't respect yourself. But setting limits does not imply being unpleasant or violent. It's about being direct and firm. It's about stating, this is what I will accept, and I will not tolerate anything less. It begins with identifying your non-negotiables. Which actions are utterly undesirable to you? Constant tardiness, rudeness, and manipulation. Make sure you understand what they are, because if you don't understand your own boundaries, how can you expect others to? Then communicate them, not just in words, but also in acts. Words may be dismissed, but deeds need respect. If a buddy is regularly canceling plans, stop making them. If your companion is consistently rude, go away. Your limits are just as effective as your desire to enforce them. This is where many men suffer. They are afraid of losing people. They believe that setting boundaries will cause them to leave. Perhaps they will. But ask yourself this. Do you really want individuals in your life who are solely there to insult you? Because it is not love. That is convenience. Here is the truth. Boundaries do not drive the proper people away. They attract them. Setting limits demonstrates to others how much you respect yourself, and those who genuinely appreciate you will strive to satisfy your expectations. What about the rest? Let them go. They were never intended to stay. 6. The absence effect. Your presence is powerful, but your absence is more stronger. People do not value what is constantly available. They place a high value on what they fear losing. If you're always there, giving and chasing, you're teaching children that your time and effort are endless, and what is boundless is sometimes taken for granted. Allow me to tell you a story. There was one individual who consistently turned up, the first to provide assistance, send a text message, or make arrangements. At first, everybody admired him. However, they eventually stopped noticing. His presence became predictable. Predictable events are simple to overlook. One day, he did something unexpected. He stopped texting first, overextending himself and devoting his time to individuals who did not appreciate it. Something intriguing happened. Everyone noticed. They began reaching out, wondering where he had gone and understanding what they had taken for granted. This is called the absence effect in action. When you step back, you make room. And in that vacuum, people are forced to face what life is like without you. But here's the key. You can't fake it. This is not about tricking others into chasing you. It is about taking time for oneself, to regain your time, energy, and concentration. Stop investing in those who do not invest in you. Here's the finest part. When you do this, one of two things occur. 1, they realize your worth and step forward. 2, they don't. You understand you're better off without them. Either way, you win. 7. Embrace unwavering confidence. Confidence is something that every man knows he needs, but so many struggle to develop it. Why? Because they have been taught the incorrect definition their entire lives. Society offers you the idea that confidence means being loud, flamboyant, or the center of attention. But what about actual confidence? It is silent, it's calm, it is unshakable. Imagine this. You come into a room and don't feel the need to prove yourself. You are not the loudest voice, you are not bragging about your successes, and you are not looking for acceptance. You are just present, collected, grounded, and confident in who you are. That type of confidence earns respect. How do you get there? It starts with a single fact. Confidence is not about what you have, it's all about your beliefs. 6-pack abs, a 6-figure salary, and a fancy vehicle. Sure, those are lovely, but they are external, and everything external can be removed. Consider the man who is continually showing off his employment, car, and lifestyle. On the surface, he appears assured. What remains once those items are removed? Nothing. Now compare him to the individual who enters a room having nothing to prove. He doesn't need to brag because his confidence emanates from inside. So, how do you construct it? Keep your promises to yourself. Confidence is not something you can think your way into. It is something you gain via action. Show up, do the work, push yourself. Every time you follow through, you send a message to yourself, I can do this. And the more you prove it, the more steadfast you become. 8. Stop over-explaining yourself. Over-explaining is an indication of insecurity. It occurs when you feel compelled to defend your actions, limits, or standards to those who do not require an explanation. And I'll tell you, it's one of the quickest ways to lose respect. Think about it. Have you ever said no to a plan and then felt the need to explain why? Have you ever established a limit only to justify it after someone pushed back? Were they more respectful of you after your explanation? Probably not. In fact, they probably regarded you less since your excessive explanation made you appear uncertain of yourself. Here is the truth. A guy who understands his worth does not have to explain it. He allows his deeds to speak for themselves. If someone dislikes it, it is their issue, not his. So, how can you break this habit? Practice quiet. The next time someone questions your decision, avoid the need to explain. Simply respond, "That is what works best for me." If they demand more, repeat it. "This is what works best for me." There's no need to elaborate. Your confidence is in your restraint. Over-explaining does not simply make you appear insecure. It drains your energies. Every second spent defending yourself to someone who does not appreciate you takes energy away from the things that are genuinely important. So stop. Save your energy for those who completely embrace your decisions. For everyone else, let your silence speak for itself. 9. Reduce the dead weight. Let me ask you a difficult question. Is there somebody in your life who is holding you back? Perhaps it's a pal who only calls when they need something. Perhaps it's a spouse who does not share your aspirations. Perhaps it's a coworker who consistently undermines you. Whoever it is, you know they're dead weight. If you want to develop, you must let them go. It is not simple to cut people off. It's unpleasant, awkward, and even harsh. But let me tell you what is worse: maintaining poisonous relationships due to habit, fear, or guilt. Every time you tolerate their conduct, you are sending a message to both them and yourself that you are all right with being mistreated. And the message has implications. Time and energy are precious resources. Every minute spent with someone who does not value you is a minute lost from your development, happiness, and future. So, why waste it? Why are you carrying people who cannot carry you? Imagine ascending a mountain while carrying a large bag full of worthless weight. Things that do not serve you. Things that make you slow down. How far do you think you will get? Not very. Now imagine dropping that backpack. Suddenly, the ascent becomes easier. You go quicker, breathe more deeply, and concentrate on the top ahead. That is what occurs when you remove the unnecessary weight from your life. So, how do you do it? Identify those that exhaust you. Who makes you feel worse, not better? Who takes but never gives? Set limits. Tell them what you will and will not tolerate. And if they continue to breach the line, walk away. No explanations, no apologies, just stroll. But here is the reality. It's not about them when you cut someone off. It is about you. It is about choosing yourself above others who do not want you. It's about making room for individuals who truly respect you. It's about conveying a message to both yourself and the world. You're not here to settle. Take an honest look at your life. Identify the dead weight, set your boundaries, and start chopping. It won't be easy, but it will be worthwhile. Because when you eventually let go of the bad individuals, you make place for the good ones. And now is when everything changes. 10. Reclaim your concentration. Allow me to ask you something. How much time do you waste on things that aren't genuinely important? Perhaps it's a lady who does not respect you. A buddy takes advantage of your generosity. A circumstance at work that saps your energy. Whatever it is, here's the harsh reality. Every second you spend stressing about things beyond your control is a lost opportunity. And lost moments lead to a wasted life. Your attention is your most significant asset. It's what powers your development, propels your success, and shapes your destiny. However, if you allow it to become scattered, continually distracted by other people's drama, views, or disrespect, you will never realize your full potential. Why? Because you are handing over the one thing you cannot afford to lose. Pay attention. Think about it. How many nights have you remained up thinking about what you should have said during a conversation? How many hours have you spent reading around social media, comparing yourself to others who don't matter? How much energy have you expended attempting to repair relationships with individuals who do not appreciate you? Consider redirecting all of your time, energy, and concentration toward your goals. Consider the development you could make, the talents you could develop, and the achievements you could attain. Reclaiming your attention begins with a single decision. Stop focusing your attention on things that don't merit it. If it isn't benefiting your growth, let it go. If it does not connect with your goals, go away. If it drains your energy, turn it off. Simple? Yes. Easy? Number. Because recovering your attention demands discipline, you must say no to distractions, no matter how enticing they seem. Setting limits, even if it is uncomfortable. Prioritizing yourself, even if others may not understand. This is how you do it. Get clear about your main priorities. What really matters to you? What is your career? How's your health? What about your own growth? Write it down. Then take an honest look at how you're using your time. Are your activities in line with your priorities, or are you spending time on non-essential tasks? Once you've identified the distractions, take action. Unfollow those that deplete you. Say no to plans that do not benefit you. Stop devoting your attention to those who do not appreciate you. Because reclaiming your concentration is reclaiming your power. And now is when everything changes. 11. The art of delicate detachment. It may appear cold, distant, and even unfeeling, but detachment is one of the most powerful weapons a guy can have. It is not about remaining dispassionate or disinterested. It's all about freedom. Freedom from the desire for confirmation. Freedom from the worry of losing others. Freedom from the compulsion to always prove oneself. When you learn separation, you become unshakable. Most people get this incorrectly. They believe that separation equals not caring, but this is not true. Detachment does not mean caring less. It's about caring in the proper manner. It entails giving your all in every circumstance and not allowing the outcome to determine your pleasure. Imagine this. You're in a relationship and continually worry about the other person leaving. You overthink every text, conversation, and encounter. You're so concentrated on making people happy that you forget about yourself. That is not love. That is terror. Consider the same relationship, but instead of stressing on the result, you focus on becoming the greatest version of yourself. You speak effectively, establish limits, and offer your all. But if they stay, that's terrific. Even if they depart, you're okay. That is dissociation. That is freedom. But it's not just about relationships. It's an attitude that applies to everything. Your professional, social, and personal aspirations. Detachment enables you to remain grounded and focused, regardless of what happens. When you are detached, external circumstances no longer have authority over you. You exercise self-control. So, how do you develop it? Shift your emphasis. Stop worrying about things you cannot control. Focus on what you can do. Stop seeking approval from others. Seek it from yourself. Stop clinging to results. Believe that whatever occurs, you will manage it. Detachment necessitates letting go of anxiety, insecurity, and a need for control. However, mastering it yields considerably more beneficial results. Peace of mind. In a world full of upheaval, peace of mind is invaluable. 12. Dominate your own path. This is it. The last step, the ultimate change. The only thing distinguishing regular men from remarkable ones. It's time to forge your own path. And I do not mean dominance in an arrogant or confrontational manner. I aim to travel your journey with confidence, purpose, and steadfast self-esteem. Because this is the truth. If you do not take charge of your life, someone else will. How many guys live their lives following a screenplay they didn't write? They attend school because they are taught to. Get a job because you are supposed to. Settle down since it is anticipated. And before they realize it, they're stuck in a life that doesn't seem like theirs. But you were not born to follow. You were born to create. So, how can you forge your own path? Begin by accepting complete responsibility for your life. No more blaming others. No more waiting for someone to save you. No more excuses. When you take possession, you reclaim your power. And with that power, you may create the life you truly desire. Next, define your vision. What does success look like to you? That is not what society teaches you. This is not what your family expects. What do you want? Perhaps it's creating a business, touring the world, or perfecting a talent. Whatever it is, note it down. Make it real. Then take action. Because a vision without action is only a dream. But here's the catch. You cannot do it alone. Surround yourself with individuals who will challenge you, help you grow, and motivate you to be better. Most essential, let go of anyone who is holding you back. Because you can't control your destiny if you're carrying dead weight. Finally, remember this. Dominating your route does not imply achieving a certain destination. It's about getting up each day knowing your life is on your own terms. It's about gazing in the mirror and feeling proud of the man you're becoming. It's about leaving a legacy that can speak for itself. So quit waiting, stop doubting, stop holding back. You are responsible for creating your own path. It is now, and you are the one who will accomplish it. Picture this. People who formerly took you for granted begin to feel your absence. They sense the emptiness where your energy, presence, and power had existed. But by the time they understand it, you've already shifted your emphasis to creating your own road to caring. You're not waiting or chasing, not looking back. You're maturing, changing, and stepping into the life you were destined to have. On your own terms, not theirs. And that is what this is all about. Not repairing them, but altering you. You were not put on this planet to beg for respect or justify your worth to those who never appreciated it in the first place. You're here to claim your authority, establish your own standards, and live a life that people can't help but respect. But understanding this is not enough. Action is what distinguishes the weak from the powerful. So here is your challenge. Start today. Set one boundary. Reclaim an hour of your time. Take one step toward becoming the man you know you are destined to be. Because every journey starts with one step. And your path begins today. If this message resonated with you or sparked something inside you, please leave a comment below. I am done waiting. This is my moment. That's your proclamation and first move. And if you're serious about this adventure, please subscribe. Because this is more than just a channel, it's a movement, a fraternity of men who refuse to accept anything less than brilliance. And trust me, the following video will take you even further. Stay ready. We are just getting started.